My name's Rick Rowen. I'm bituminous engineer from the South Dakota DOT. And when I read the first two questions, I thought I was coming to the wrong conference. I had no idea how to answer them, so I sent them to my pavement management engineer, or the DOTs. I still don't know how to answer them, but you guys can read what he told me we're doing. And I will too. It might be kind of informational for me. Who we've got with me is Ryan Johnson. He takes care of all our specs. He actually really helps me out because I don't give him very much and said, write a spec, Ryan, and he usually gets it done. And Tanner Fitzke, he does our surfacing design for all our overlay projects. So he's fairly new and he'll learn along with some of the rest of us on these next three. This is what I've got from our folks on what we're gonna do or have to do according to federal highway. So we'll see, and then I'll get to maybe find out if we really do it. I always like when they tell me we're doing really great and then we haven't compiled all the data yet. Wait a second, guys. I've heard that one before. Our biggest challenge, again, is logging all this, gets what's required. I think everybody has that issue. We're all gonna have some problems in getting all the required information they want. This is, what he tells me we're gonna do. Roughly 7,800 miles, 8,500 lane miles. There's our maintenance preservation is gonna be on just the basic ones. You'll see that a little later. I'll tell you which ones. And we're in a severe climate. Really, most of the state, or at least half of it, is PG 64 minus 34 state. And that's really extreme on the high end. We're up in the 110, 115 for a high in the summer. We're 40 below in the winter. So it's really tough on our pavements. But we've got to deal with it. You don't have any other choice. This is one little item I just threw in on our maintenance side that they told me that they're seeing some benefits, especially bridges and some of the items. As they've got into doing a better job and decision on what to do for maintenance with chemicals, they actually think it's not only saving us money, but it's saving our assets. It isn't doing as much damage. And each truck tells them, and they aren't putting on way too much chemical, or they aren't getting it at the wrong times. And it's all through the management system that controls it in the trucks. If we can do that, we can have more money to use in the summer with our maintenance forces. And we have them do a lot of things, and a lot of them we have contracted out, but they do all the emergency type repairs. They do a lot of the fixing smaller type things like shoulders along an interstate if it's broke up. They handle those type of projects. We've had a class for them, and it really works out good. We go in and tell them the different ideas. They tell us how bad we're doing. They get to really vent on us, but we get to tell them why they're doing what they're doing. In the end, it usually works out, and they'll actually call us when they see something. And they're very good. They're the ones out there all the time. They know what's going on your roads. And if you've got a good relationship with them, they tell you what's going on. And they're usually right. They actually beat the pavement management system quite often. So they do understand what's going on out there. There's what we do in South Dakota last year. 632 miles chip seals, 298 crack sealing, micro surfacing. The last one is really the hard one. It's HP. I typed kind of fast. I see I skipped it. And then the high friction surface treatment somebody else mentioned, and that's a safety item. And then our concrete repair, we're around $43 million for last year. Now, items that we see coming up are a big one, or we're doing a lot of things for safety, but we also see it's going to cost us, like the rumble strips. You got to maintain them. You got to do a good job, or you create another hazard if you don't keep them in good shape. You start having them ravel out. They're hard to deal with when you chip seal. You can't be doing chip seals over them more than maybe once, or you're losing the effect, and then you got to pay to put them back in. So there's a lot of items there. Hot in-place recycling, we have not did a job yet. We'll look at it. I think we'll find a job. Cold central plant recycling, we've got 2 jobs. We're still struggling a little on mix design. It seems like that's a big thing on some of these is you have to have the right emulsion. In our environment, you're dealing with an old material that has oil in it. You're going to add emulsion to it. You got to have the right emulsion, right PG grade out there basically when you're done. If you don't, it either cracks up or it ruts. And then why? Well, a lot of it could be in design. Maybe not the process, but what you did or didn't do at design stage. We're starting to use some of the thinner half-inch, even sometimes thinner. We use those sometimes instead and almost as a stress relief layer. We can take the fines out there on a hot mix job if we've got depressions, put some of that in, and it seems to keep reflective cracking from coming back as soon. They still come back, but we can delay it, and it usually isn't as severe. We put 1 1/4 inch or 1 1/8 inch class S, which really is an SMA. And everybody says, oh, you're traffic, you can't justify putting that on. But actually, when you look at life cycle costs, it really does a good job for us. We don't have any maintenance on those roads. And we don't put it on the low volume. It's your interstate type roads, your 4 lanes. It doesn't make you go out there and chip seal. We're getting 15, 20 years on some of them. One's at 23. You know, that's good life out of your section. We don't have a lot of maintenance costs. So that's what we're doing. I'm not developing any performance curves. I'll leave that to the pavement management folks. And training and certification, we still see that as a big issue. We got a lot of these pavement preventative maintenance projects, and we just don't have the training of our people and the contractors. And that's a reason. A lot of times we get really good jobs if it's a good contractor. If it's not, you can almost tell on the letting, unless you really work hard with your inspectors, you probably won't get as good a job. And that's the way it goes. Thank you.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.